about from the very beginning. The way of heaven is to help and not harm. The way for humans is to act without contention. Jesus said, consider the lilies of the field. You don't have to, there's some things you don't have to worry about. It'll come to you if you just open. For example, use a simple example of a tree. A tree doesn't have to look for its purpose. And the same thing's true for us. So if you open your heart and your mind and you look outside yourself, you will find that it comes to you, and that's what you have to let happen. If you're so self-absorbed and so wrapped up in yourself, it's not going to work. A good general principle is look for where the need is. And as I was taught by a great teacher of mine, if you're too big for the small stuff, don't be surprised if you're too small for the big stuff. Answer these questions for yourself. What inspires you? What are your values? Seriously, what are your aspirations? What are you passionate about? What are your real goals, really? And these things can also be asked of your organizations. And the successful organizations, the most successful, they know what the answers to these things are. And so this is not just fluff. And I'm not just Pollyanna. The attitude of gratitude. Remember, gratitude is a cause, not an effect. So if you want to be happy, think about the things you have to be grateful for and express it. It makes you happier. It's weird. Happy people don't express gratitude. Well, they do, but the reason they're happy is because of the expression of gratitude. And observe negativity. People tend to label things bad 10 times for every 3 times. They label something good. Oh, it's awful. Oh, God, this is terrible. You know, they're out of Ritz crackers at the supermarket. Oh, my God. The peanut butter is smooth, not crunchy. Okay, I can tell we're getting towards lunchtime because kindness is also a cause, not an effect. It's both, but practicing acts of kindness, it turns out, makes people happier. Little things or big things. Try it. You feel better. You do. You know that kind of feeling that if you've done something, you've helped somebody out or done something, you kind of feel better? You can consciously, deliberately decide, hey, and that's what the Dalai Lama means, by the way, when he says that, you know, that when you, because there was a conference on this most recently, there was one at Stanford. He was trying to get people to understand that the giver and the receiver, you know, it's more complicated than that, because the most selfish thing you can do is be unselfish. Keep in mind the affective contagion when you're with people that are ungrateful, because that can affect you. I wanted to work at one point in my life, I wanted to work at San Quentin. So I went into San Quentin through layers and layers and layers of bars and bars and bars. And the fact of the matter was that place was so dense with negative anger and bitterness and rancor and hatred that I didn't have the strength. I couldn't do it. I would be overwhelmed by it. Fortunately, I realized that. Some of the other psychiatrists weren't so lucky. Self-importance. Now here's a brilliant thinker. This is Don Juan Matus, for those of you who know of him. Self-importance is our greatest enemy. Our self-importance requires that we spend most of our lives offended by somebody. Seriously. So consider your significance 50 years from now or 75 years from now, to put it in perspective. Also, think about self-important people. How do they make you feel? And how happy are they, really? Actually, they're pretty miserable. So you can lose the self-importance. And the taking things personally, you don't need to do that. It's really not about you. So allow yourself to care. That's okay. You can care. Make a difference if you want. That's fine. If you want to be happy, care about someone or something other than yourself. Nourish your soul, acknowledge your spirit. All this sounds like common sense, but you have to take one of these things and then you have to put it into application. So I'm going to summarize now. You don't find happiness, you become happy. You create yourself, you don't find yourself. Beyond happiness is joy. Beyond joy is truth. Simplify your life and pay attention. Drive all efforts into one. Get your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul aligned, your tonal in alignment. Actively practice patience. In other words, not passively, but actively practice it. Kindness. It's not that, little things add up. Generosity of spirit, attune with others and with their own soul. And I think the Dalai Lama, most recently he was at Stanford, like I just mentioned, and this is what he said to the crowd. He said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. So the point is, it's really not that complex, but the message is that modern brain science backs up what the ancients have told us in the very, very beginning. The philosophers, the spiritual leaders, the prophets, and so on. That you can consciously, deliberately take responsibility for your life, live a better life, and in so doing, make the world not just better for you, but for those around you. Thank you so much for listening to me today. These are some of my sources. This is my contact information.